A new warning is spreading among older people across the UK about changes to the free bus pass system. Many pensioners have built their entire weekly routine around this one travel benefit without realizing it could soon work differently. If your pass details are out of date, you could face delays getting to a hospital appointment or visiting family. The free bus pass itself is not being scrapped, but the rules around who qualifies and how passes are checked are shifting. Some pensioners may need to confirm their identity again, update their address, or renew sooner than they expected. Others could find they have to wait longer than they planned before their pass even becomes valid. By the end of this video, you will know exactly what is changing, who is affected, and what steps to take right now. You will also learn the simple checks that could stop you losing access to free travel without warning. Hello and welcome, because today we need to talk about something that affects millions of people over the age of 60. Free bus travel has been a lifeline for older people in the UK for many years now. But the system behind it is quietly being reshaped, and most people have no idea this is happening. This matters right now because the state pension age itself is steadily rising across the country. In England, the state pension age is moving from 66 towards 67 over the coming years. Because the free bus pass age is tied directly to the state pension age, this rise affects bus pass eligibility too. That means some people who expected a free pass at 66 may now have to wait an extra year. Later in this video, I will explain exactly how the devolved nations of Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland differ from England. I will also explain what happens if you already hold a valid bus pass right now. And I will walk you through the simple steps you can take today to protect your travel benefits. Let's start with the first major issue, which is the rising qualifying age itself. For years, pensioners in England could get a free bus pass as soon as they reach state pension age. That age used to be 66 for both men and women across the country. Now, under reforms first set out in the Pensions Act of 2014, that age is gradually increasing. The consequence is simple but important because new applicants will need to wait longer before their pass becomes active. This does not affect people who are already holding a valid pass today. Existing passes will normally remain valid right up until their printed expiry date. The solution here is simply to check the official qualifying age for your specific birth year on gov.uk. This is also linked to your state pension date, which you can check using the State Pension Forecast tool. There is another issue almost nobody talks about, and it concerns renewal checks. Local councils across England are tightening identity and address checks when passes come up for renewal. This means some pensioners may be asked to provide updated proof of address or identification documents. Imagine someone named Margaret, who has held the same bus pass for the last 8 years without any problems. Margaret moved house 18 months ago, but never updated her address with her local council. When her renewal letter arrives, she may be asked to provide fresh proof of her new address before the pass is reissued. If she ignores this request, her renewal could be delayed, leaving her without free travel for several weeks. The simple solution for Margaret and for anyone in her position is to check her local council's bus pass page today. Updating personal details now, before a renewal is due, can prevent unnecessary delays later. But here's what most people don't know, because the rules are not identical across the United Kingdom. Transport policy is devolved, which means England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland each set their own rules. In Scotland, free bus travel is already available from age 60, regardless of state pension age. In Wales, the qualifying age for free travel has also remained at 60, separate from pension age changes. In Northern Ireland, the Smart Pass scheme operates under its own local rules and timetable. This means a pensioner in Cardiff could qualify years earlier than a similar-aged pensioner living in Manchester. If you live near a national border, it is worth checking which country's scheme applies to your specific address. Now let's talk about disabled bus pass holders, because their situation is genuinely different. If you qualify for your pass because of a disability or long-term health condition, your eligibility is not linked to pension age at all. This means the age-related changes we have discussed do not apply to you in the same way. However, disabled pass holders may still be asked to confirm that their medical or eligibility documentation remains current. Equality legislation also protects disabled pass holders from being unfairly disadvantaged by any local changes to travel times. If your documentation has expired or is close to expiring, contact your local council to renew it as soon as possible. There's another issue almost nobody talks about, and it concerns travel time restrictions. In many areas, free bus passes only allow travel after 9:30 in the morning on weekdays. This restriction exists to avoid overcrowding buses during the busiest commuter hours. However, some councils, including parts of Greater Manchester, have been reviewing or removing this 9:30 restriction locally. This means free, all-day travel could become available earlier in some regions, while others keep the existing restriction in place. The solution is to check your specific local authorities' published rules, since this varies significantly by area. Do not assume your neighboring town follows the exact same timetable as your own council. Let's look at another real example, because this helps make the rules clearer. Imagine a man named David who turns 66 next year and is expecting his free bus pass automatically. Because of the rising qualifying age, David may actually need to wait closer to 67 before his pass becomes valid. David assumed the rules were fixed and never checked his exact entitlement date in advance. If David applies too early, his application could simply be rejected until he reaches the correct qualifying age. The solution for David is to check his exact state pension age using the free Gov.uk forecasting tool. This tool will tell him precisely which month and year he becomes eligible for both his pension and his bus pass. Now let's talk about the cost side of this story, because funding pressures are part of the picture too. The English National Concessionary Travel Scheme reportedly costs in the region of £700 million each year to operate. As more people live longer, the number of pensioners using free travel continues to grow steadily. Local councils fund a significant portion of this scheme from their own transport budgets. Because of this, some councils have reportedly been reviewing how sustainable their concessionary travel offer is in the long term. This does not mean free travel is being removed, but it does explain why eligibility checks are becoming stricter. Governments often describe this kind of tightening as protecting the scheme for future generations of pensioners. There's a further issue worth understanding, and it concerns digital identification systems. Some councils are reportedly moving towards digital or app-based verification instead of older paper-based renewal processes. This is intended to reduce fraud and make the renewal process faster for genuine applicants. However, pensioners who are less comfortable with smartphones or online systems may find this transition more difficult. If you struggle with digital systems, contact your council directly and ask whether a paper-based alternative is still available. Many councils are legally required to offer reasonable alternatives for people who cannot easily use digital services. Let's bring in one more example, because it highlights a common mistake. Imagine a woman named Susan who recently reached her qualifying age and applied for her first bus pass. Susan submitted her application but forgot to include a recent passport-style photograph, which most councils require. Her application was delayed by several weeks simply because of this missing document. The solution is to check exactly what documents your council requires before you submit any application. Most councils list these requirements clearly on their official website, often under a section called concessionary travel. Preparing these documents in advance can save weeks of unnecessary delay. If your application is rejected and you believe it was wrong, you have the right to ask your council for a formal review. Many pensioners do not realize this right exists and simply give up after a single rejection letter. Let's pause and recap the open loops we promised to answer earlier in this video. We explained how the rising state pension age is gradually pushing back the qualifying age for free bus passes in England. We explained that existing pass holders are not losing their benefit overnight, and current passes remain valid until they expire. We explained how Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland each run separate schemes with different qualifying ages. We explained that disabled pass holders are protected differently, and their eligibility is not linked to pension age. We explained how local councils are tightening identity checks, address verification, and renewal documentation requirements. And we explained how digital verification systems are slowly being introduced alongside traditional paper processes. So, what should you actually do this month to protect your free travel entitlement? First, check your exact state pension age using the free forecasting tool available on gov.uk. Second, check your local council's website for the specific qualifying age and renewal rules in your area. Third, make sure your address and identification documents are fully up to date with your local council. Fourth, if you rely on a disability base pass, confirm that your supporting medical documentation has not expired. Fifth, if you are due for renewal soon, gather your documents early rather than waiting for a reminder letter. Taking these 5 simple steps now can prevent weeks of unnecessary delay or confusion later in the year. It is also worth bookmarking your local council's transport page so you can check for updates throughout the year. Free bus travel remains one of the most valuable financial benefits available to older people across the United Kingdom. Protecting that benefit simply means staying informed and acting before problems arise, rather than after. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing so you do not miss future updates on pensions and benefits. A quick like also helps this information reach more pensioners who may not yet know about these changes. And if you know someone who relies on their bus pass, please consider sharing this video with them directly. We will continue covering the latest changes to pensions, benefits, and financial support in future videos. So stay informed with us.